Hello and welcome, Prema Gurreri, Vedic astrologer and soul advisor, and I am really excited to be with you today. I have a really special guest to bring to you today, and I've known Devaney Freeman for a few years now, and we mastermind together. We support each other in a lot of ways, and we really enjoy each other's work. So you've probably seen her before. She is a social media strategist, a social media expert, and also a Facebook ads specialist. So I want to bring her on right now, and then we are going to have a deep conversation about the Sacred Wealth Code, her amazing archetype, the strategist, and how that can help you. Hi, Devaney.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Totally a pleasure. So when I asked Devaney, which of your archetypes would you like to really share about? Because it's really nice for you all to know how other people are connecting with their sacred wealth code, how they're also connecting with the gifts, how they're connecting with the shadow, and how does that really apply to real life or apply to your business right now? So she said definitely the strategist. And she is. I mean, that's a big part of her wealth code. But remember, with the Sacred Wealth Code cards, with all the, the guidebook, all the archetypes are in the book, whether you have your Sacred Wealth Code or not, all these aspects are inside you. And you can pick a card, any card at any time, and, ask a question, ask for some guidance, and, you're going to get it. And so even though maybe in your Sacred Wealth Code you have specific archetypes like the strategist is for Devaney, the thing is all of these energies are in you. And also you could think, okay, well, wow, I really need some help, with the strategy for this, funnel I'm creating in my business right now. And you might just even get the strategist out and read it and consult with it and tap in with it, because that energy is in you somewhere. So Devaney, I would love for you to share with us, when you, let's just talk about Sacred Wealth Code for a moment. And when you came in to, work with me around your Sacred Wealth Code, what was going on for you? What was the question marks? What was the challenge for you at that time?
Yeah. So at that time, I was at a crossroads where I wasn't feeling super fired up about what I was doing in my business. And I had this questioning on whether I should go into this direction or whether I should go into this direction. And one side was more like training and teaching, and the other side was more strategy, leading a team, and staying in a different zone of genius. And I had a really hard time of which direction should I go in, which direction is going to light me up and allow me to have a business that just completely fulfills me. And so that was what I was struggling with.
And how has, your Sacred Wealth Code in general, or specifically the strategist, really helped you with that?
Yes. So through the process of us working together, I realized that I needed to embrace my strategist more, and step into that role and allow myself to be okay with not being lit up by those other things that I was seeing a lot of peers doing. And so when I allowed myself to go and basically shut down like some of my programs and stuff that I was running and step fully into running an agency, so I could really stay at the high level of strategy but not actually having to do a lot of the implementation. And it was great, like just lit me up, like, and lights me up every single day to be able to strategize in a high level, strategize with who do I need on my team that is in place, but yet not having to be the one that's doing all of the stuff. So being able to strategize and how do I delegate and build a strong team where I can stay in that zone of genius.
Well, and that's, so much the strategist is a leader in its own right. And the strategist really, has that ability to be able to see the lay of the land and mentally, because it's a real mental energy and sort of pictorial for some people, be able to see where it's possible for the energy to go and kind of play that out like a little bit of chess, in your mind. And I love that about this card. And when Emma, the artist, when we were collaborating about this card, she depicted it as a chessboard, and people who have a strong strategist are really able to see a lot of different possibilities and actually see the steps in there. Sometimes on the shadow side can get caught with, too much strategy and not bringing it down into actual action, because this is an energy that's kind of up in the head. So can we talk about a little bit on the shadow side? Because on the shadow side of the strategist, we'll see self-centeredness, sometimes over-competitive, perfectionism. So where have you found yourself caught, or where do you get caught in that shadow side?
Yeah, so I overcomplicate things, and I overcomplicate things because I want them to be perfect. So I over-strategize, and then I over-strategize to the point where then I confuse myself, and then I sit in uncertainty and I don't actually take action.
Yeah, and that when it comes to procrastination, procrastination eventually leads to overwhelm, and then we end up, getting stuck, and then we end up procrastinating even more. But perfectionism is really the tipping point, because when we are in that perfectionism piece, we tend to procrastinate and we get into overwhelm, and the over-strategizing piece. How many of you listening in have been in that position where you're like, okay, you've got a strategy, you know what it is, like maybe you're putting a funnel together for your business. Maybe you're launching a program. Maybe you're giving a party, okay? You can have a strategy for a lot of things. How do we get this done and get it done effectively? And you can over-strategize so much that, a lot of brilliant ideas, but you can complicate it. In fact, Debbie and I were just having a conversation before we hopped on live on how important simplicity is. And there is so much power in simplicity. Why don't you talk about that for a moment, as opposed to the overcomplicating?
Yeah, so like in my world, where I'm like funnels and Facebook ads and all this stuff, like it can be so complicated, and we have all these moving parts to it. Or even with building your business, you want to offer this program and this and this and this. And the people and the peers of mine that are being very successful in business they are simplifying things, and they have like one focus. And for us, as women, we're multi-passionate, and we have all these things that we want to do, and we see all these people offering these other things. And it's just like a really great moment to just drop in and remember simplifying things is better, especially for me as like a strategist, because then I can just go deep with that one strategy versus spreading myself thin. And then when I spread myself thin, then I end up not doing anything, or not doing it well as it could be. And so I think that's a constant reminder that I have to have is blinders, blinders, blinders. I don't need to go like someone else may be doing something cool and it's great, but I have to keep things simple.
Yeah, and that's where that, being connected with our purpose always comes in, and we can weigh things against our purpose in a really big way. Is this in alignment with my purpose? And, when you're using the archetypes, you can do the same thing, because each archetype has has a soul desire. It has a purpose statement. And, this, in fact, the mantra for the strategist is that every vision has a plan. And, you want to make sure that you are, and it's also the purpose is to help visions become successful missions through inspired action plans. So if you were to use that, or I always say to everyone, tweak the purpose of your particular archetype so that it actually resonates with you, then you can, like Daphne's talking about, oh, well, here's a new, system. Should I use that? Well, is it going to help my vision become a successful mission and actually be able to put that into inspired action? Well, no, that'll take 6 months and I won't be able to finish what I'm doing now. Oh, blinders on, get back over here. So it's really important to have something that always is your anchor, which I always find purpose in anything will help you to make those decisions, because the strategist, I mean, it's fun to strategize for people who have that, it's really, it's fun. So, and also as a strategist, sometimes you might be in that energy. And Devaney, I'm sure that you do this for people too, because you do take them all the way through to the end result. But sometimes somebody might book a session for you with you to like talk about, your hit on their situation, and you might give them a few different strategies. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you do have a strong strategist, I mean, that's actually a really high value gift. And then they can walk away, or you can help them decide which strategy is the best. So it's not like always just having one strategy. That's the practical. Okay, that's what we need to do once we put it in place. But I know, those of you who are brilliant with a strategist, you can be you could be a consultant and just get paid for your amazing ideas. And it's different from the visionary. Visionary is really great at seeing a vision and big ideas in that way. The strategist is going to show you A, B, C, D. This is how you're going to need to get there, and actually have the strategy to actually get there. But can you bring it down to earth? That's the key. That's the really big one. So will you also talk to us today about where you are today, your success, because of being aware of this work, being aware of, really standing in your gifts of the strategist, or any of your gifts, really?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I worked with you, I mean, it had been a couple years where I kept going back and forth on what is the best business model for me, what is going to be using my highest value gifts. And I finally got that clarity after we worked together and really understanding how I was wired. And so then I made changes based on that information, strategized with myself and made changes. And then I had one of the best years I ever had in my business. I had made more money than I made before, but I had freedom and I felt supported and I loved what I was doing, and then the clients that I attracted after I did that. And so it was just a confirmation of like what I already knew that I needed to step into, but yet I had a lot of uncertainty around it, and it just like connected all of the dots for me.
Thank you. Clarity is such power, and I don't feel like I ever tell somebody or anything that they really don't already know at some level. My intention is just always to shine the light there so that you could see it and then help you actually to step into it. So because, our conditioning doesn't, and programming and the way the world is wired doesn't always tell us that's really what we should be doing. Yeah. And doesn't really, I think when it comes to the way our high value gifts are wired, it's a journey that you have to take. Only you can really light up those gifts. And you have to have a certain amount of self-trust in order to do that. That's I think the biggest thing. And it's really interesting. It's like, okay, then why isn't the world wired up so that it's always showing us that? I think it's just part of the divine's plan in us really owning who we are and trusting ourselves. And it's like there's some things that you can only discover yourself. You can have help discovering them, and there's things that you can only do or live into for yourself, because it is our own personal journey here. And I think that's really a lot of the reason that we're here. So it might seem unfair a little bit, but at the same time, once you start to get that fortitude and that trust, it's really amazing what happens. And, there's dips and valleys. I have dips and valleys. I mean,
absolutely.
I step into my shadow side, and then I have to remember, and I have to reach out for help. And I go back to my own wealth code, and I do all the practices I give my clients to do. I listen to the meditations. I go over and consult. We do a sacred wealth code meeting every week with all my archetypes. Since I got the cards, I love the cards so much because it's so user friendly. It's like, yeah, I sit down to do something and it's like, pick a card. So this is actually one of my archetypes, but as I pick the messenger here, it's not just that it's got this great mantra, I bring the light of awareness, and it's got these great words like the strategist does too, high achieving, productive, calculating, passionate, and that might be enough for you. I had one of my, I was just popped my head into the Sacred Wealth Circle before we hopped on, and one of the members of the circle, she had said she had picked the Strategist for 3 days in a row. And the Strategist is actually part of her wealth code, but she was just picking it from the deck. And she doesn't love this archetype. And she said and she said, okay, well, I want to sit there and look at it. She really looked close. And she said, oh, and the reason I'm saying this is because it's just the pictures also, energy speaks. So, I mean, you can read about it in the book and all that. But she said, oh, there's a fox and it's chasing the rabbit. She says, I realized I don't like my Strategist so much because I feel like the rabbit a lot of the time instead of feeling like the fox. And she had to take care of the rabbit. So she wasn't feeling like just kind of strung out and running ragged and chased. And in order to really be able to integrate into her whole Strategist. So it shows up different ways, different days of the week, but the beautiful thing is it's a great resource for you to access more of you, and that's why it's here. So Devaney, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with today?
Just like what I've learned on this journey is that the more that I can learn about myself, the more that I can be empowered to show up in my highest light. And so all of these tools that you've provided with your book and the cards and your programs and stuff, like have just helped me so much to learn about myself. And I'm so grateful for that. So anybody that's listening, just encourage you to invest time, money, resources into continuing to learn about yourself.
I mean, that's the most valuable thing you can invest in is you. You're we are all personally an amazing resource. I appreciate you being here, shining your light and sharing your brilliance with us. If you are looking for someone to help you, with your marketing, with your social media, with your Facebook ads, reach out to Devaney. She is amazing. And Devaney, your website is devaneyfreeman.com, isn't it?
Yes.
devaneyfreeman.com, and we'll put a link with that with this video as well. And if you haven't gotten your Sacred Wealth Code cards, the book, the link is right below this video for the cards. If you want a reading, you can grab that too. And if you really want to stop going this alone and be in a like-minded, like-hearted community, join the Sacred Wealth Circle or hop on the Sacred Wealth Journey, and you can find all that right here with the video. You'll find it all. And would love to have you along the way. So have a beautiful, beautiful day. And remember to take the time to tune into what's really going on for you and to invest in you, because you're the biggest asset you have. Have a beautiful day.